Hi children, this is Sister Lavanya, your bio teacher. In this video, we begin with continuation of chapter 3, the plant life. In previous video, we have studied about flower, parts of flower, inflorescence, pollination and fertilization. We will begin with another important part of the plant, that is fruit. The main function of the fruit are protect the seed and to attract fruit-eating animals. The animals eat the fruit and throw away the seed or pass them out with stool. This helps to disperse or scatter seeds. If seeds did not get scattered, they would fall right under the parent tree. The new plant would then compete with the parent and with each other for space, water, air and sunlight, etc. Fruit has two parts, pericarp and the seeds. Pericarp develops from the wall of the ovary. It is divided into three parts. They are epicarp, mesocarp and endocarp. The epicarp or exocarp is the outer skin that protects the inner parts of the fruit. Mesocarp is the fleshy middle part that is usually eaten. The endocarp is the innermost part that protects the seed. It is often hard, stony or papery. The unripe fruit is usually green in color. It tastes bitter and extremely sour to repel fruit-eating animals. When seed mature, the fruits ripens, skin become colorful and mesocarp turns fleshy and the fruits may also smell sweet to attract animals. The fruits are two types, fleshy fruit and dry fruit. In fleshy fruit, such as mango, tomato and grapes, the mesocarp or both mesocarp and endocarp are fleshy. Whereas in dry fruits, the mesocarp, endocarp are fused with each other. For example, for dry fruits, rice, maize. It is often not possible to distinguish between the three layers of the pericarp as they are fused in dry fruits. Some fruits are developed only from the ovary, but from other parts as well. Such fruits are called false fruit. The fruits are developed from the ovary are called true fruits. For example, cherry, maize, mango. Whereas in false fruit, the fruit develop from the thalamus. The thalamus is the base swollen part of flower, the four whorls are holded by the thalamus. So the thalamus develop fruit. That kind of fruits are called false fruit. For example, for the false fruit, apple and pear. Seed dispersal. The seed are dispersed by wind, water and animals. The seed disperse by wind. The seeds are such as drumstick, silk cotton or cotton plant or devil plant. The seeds are dispersed by wind. Some seeds are dispersed by water. The seeds of plants that grow in or near a water body are carried by water. For example, lotus and the coconut are dispersed by water bodies. Seed dispersed by animals. Some seeds have hooks, pointed air, spines, spikes and so on. When they come in contact with the animal, they get attached to their hairy skin and carried by other places. Now we'll move on to the next important part of the plant, seed. The seed helps nourish and protect the future plant until the conditions are right for it to grow. The outer covering of the seed is called seed coat. In the case of rice, the seed coat and pericarp are fused. If you look at the pea or bean seed, you will see a scar or mark. This is where the seed is attached to the fruit. They are called helium. Right below the helium is a small pore called micropyle. During the fertilization, the pollen tubes enters the ovule through the micropyle, and also the moisture enters the seed through the micropyle. Then we'll move on to the topic of cotyledons. What is cotyledons? The seed leaves are called cotyledons. If you press the soaked pea or gram seed slightly, you will able to peel off a seed coat like this. The seed inside has two halves joined only at one point, like this in the dicot seed. These are called seed leaves or cotyledons. The seed that have two cotyledons, for example in bean, pea and gram, are called dicotyledons. In dicot seed, the cotyledons are 2 in number. The cotyledons joined by the embryo. The center part is called embryo. And the embryo has 2 parts, radicle and plumule. The radicle develops root and plumule develop shoot. The cotyledons store the food for the seed. In some seeds that have only one cotyledon, for example, rice, wheat, maize are called monocotyledons since they have only one cotyledon. In monocot, we cannot differentiate the embryo. The embryo is not visible as in dicot seeds. The food stored takes up a large amount of space inside the seed. I will show you. Here, the food stored in monocot seed. This is the place the embryo present. So in monocot seed, the embryo is not visible as in dicot seed. From this embryo of monocot seed, the radicle and plumule develops. The radicle develop root and plumule develop shoot. And the cotyledons store food in monocotyledon seed. Next, germination. The embryo lies dormant in the seed until conditions are favorable. What is germination? The process by which dormant embryo becomes active and grows into a seedling is called germination. At first, the seed absorbs water and swells up. Then the seed coat ruptures and the radicles and plumules emerges out of the seed. The radicle grows downwards while the plumule grows upwards. The radicle develops root and plumule develops into shoot system. In seeds such as pea and gram, maize, the cotyledons lie below or on the soil surface as a radicle and plumule starts to grow. They provide nourishment to the growing plant until the leaves grows. So in maize, in gram, in pea, the cotyledons lie below the soil or on the soil like in the figure shown, and the plumule and radicle develops at this stage and it provides the nourishment to the growing plant until the leaves grow. In seeds such as bean, castor or gourd, the cotyledons are lifted above the soil by growth of the portion of the embryo just above the radicle. See, this is the cotyledon. Look at the cotyledons portion. The cotyledons are lifted above the soil and reaches to the next. Later, they open up and expose the first leaves of the plant like this. The first leaves exposed to the sunlight. When these first leaves started photosynthesizing, the cotyledons shrink and fall off. Conditions necessary for germination. Seeds require water, oxygen and right temperature range for germination. Why these elements are needed for germination? The water needed for germination to soften seed coat, activate the protoplasm of the seed cell and makes stored food available to the growing embryo. The second, oxygen. The oxygen is needed by the embryo for respiration. The third element, right temperature range. The right temperature range is necessary to break the dormancy of a seed. What does mean by dormancy? It is a resting period of seed. So when the seed get water, oxygen and right temperature range, the seed break the dormancy and it activated for germination. One experiment as given in your book for the condition necessary for germination proved. First, fill 3/4 of jar with the water and secure 3 bean seeds to the wooden ruler with the help of rubber band. Immerse the ruler in the jar of water in such a way that the lowest seed is submerged in the water. What does that mean by submerged? It is deep inside the water. And the second, partially submerged in the water. The third seed placed above the water level. And over the next few days, make sure that the level of water remains the same by adding water to the jar. Notice which seed germinate first. You could see the second seed grow fast because it has water, oxygen and right temperature range, so it can grow, whereas the seed inside the water will not get the favorable temperature, so it cannot grow the same. The seed which are above the water will not get water content and proper oxygen, so it will also fail to germinate. Only the partially submerged water seed germinate because the necessary conditions are available for only the submerged seeds. So I hope this module would help you for the better understanding about the fruit seed germination. With this, our chapter 3 is over. Keep learning and stay safe. Thank you.